Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. I'm your host, Captain Cage. This is episode 88, which also happens to be my number in ice hockey. Sponsored in part by Cito Huntington. Are you a member? Visit Cito.com and join today. And J&M Seafood of East Northport and East Setauket. This episode is brought to you in part by Ocean Devil, and we are lucky enough to have Daniel on the call right now on the podcast in Dubai. This is going to be an epic episode, guys. You guys are absolutely going to love what we talk about. And stay tuned in because we're going to discuss a lot of great stuff. But we're going to start off with some tuna talk, Daniel, because yesterday's conversation, you got an award-winning fish on your line that you create. And that is, to me, that was epic. Like seeing that little certificate that you held up in the call was just like, holy cow, that's real. You know, that's serious. You know what I mean? That's a big fish.
Well, in the end of the day, that's what it's all about. I mean, people are just pushing the limits, and we're trying to provide the equipment to make that extra distance. You know, everything gets pushed to the limits once you get down those big fish. A lot of things can happen. The last thing you want is your tackle to fail. So we gotta put in that precision and accuracy to deliver on and consistency and performance. And take some time, but then things, follow up, and we start seeing results come in until the point of one of our guys, Cole, shared with us that he landed a 272-pound yellowfin tuna on our Silk Ocean FCMP P12. And this is an official state record out of Louisiana. So we were really blown away with that one. Very, very excited to get that news.
And how about the Red Cabrera, the picture of the 90-pound Red Cabrera? That thing was huge, giant.
Oh, that was insane. That was insane. That probably is a record, but I can't claim that was mine. that one's not our tackle yet, but hopefully that. But I saw that picture, and that was wild. To be honest, I didn't even know that Louisiana gets those size of Caberas, and that's out there on the oil rigs.
Yeah, that's incredible. Now, yesterday you also showed us something that was unbelievable. When you saw the detail on those rods that you created, so you're not just in the braid and line and whatnot. You have a lot more. We go to your website. There's a ton of products there that people can check out. Customized rods, all kinds of great stuff. But yesterday's Bad Company, that rod, those things that we saw yesterday blew me and Corey away. We were like, holy shit.
Oh, yeah. The collaboration that we got with Bad Company, with Anthony. So Anthony has a foundation for War Heroes on Water. That's what it's called. And as you know, we discussed a bit about the program where it helps to recover from PTSD. Our warriors that go off seas and come back, and they don't come 100% the same, so they need to get the best environment to get them, back on their feet, whether it's family, energy, motivation, mental health, whatever that comes with it. So this is a foundation that's been put together by Anthony of Batco, and every year they put together in September an auction to raise funds for this foundation. So we would like to we offer to chip in and provide 3 custom-made rods in a partnership with The Hunter, a local builder, based on the Diablo 150 casting, the popping rods. And we made 3 of these rods. If you'd like, I can pull up.
Show them. Yeah, you want to show them? Go ahead.
Here, let's look at this one, which was the first one with the beautiful carbon wrapping. So we had this again with the zoom, but let's try and see if it can pick it up. So
yep, there it goes. A little closer to it, and it sees it. Yep, right. There you go.
We can go like this, and we can see the detailing. This one is basically marbled pouring. It essentially makes this pattern that looks very much like a bowling ball.
Right.
Looks very much marble-ish. And then we go all the way to the guide wrapping. And we can see also this is the War Heroes on Water logo. And this is the guide wrapping with carbon. So this is a very unique rod. Another one that we did from The Hunter.
Yeah, the one with the sand. The one with the sand.
Kind. Yeah. This one is a one of a kind. This is also the Badco logo. And if we see here, we have actual sand placed on the blank and then epoxy down with this amazing art form to perform the ocean. And all the ocean creatures.
Yeah, it's incredible detail.
And it goes all the way into the guides where you can see, the divers and the wrapping. Every time you look at this rod, you're going to find something else. If you go all the way to this end, you can see like the little sea turtles and starfish.
What are they going
And
to
this is,
catch on that rod? What is that rod for?
this rod is the 150. So this one has been our leading blank for Louisiana yellowfin tuna. The reason it's the 150, I mean, it's between the 150 and the 220. It's because you don't know what you're going to catch, and you want a rod that's, on one hand, going to be very pleasant and fun to work these fish of up to 100, 120 pounds. But then you don't want to be, undergunned if suddenly a 200 pounder comes in and you find yourself with a spaghetti rod and nothing has enough backbone to lift that fish as well. So this rod is kind of the combination of two. The Diablo 150 delivers on very strong castability with an 8.3 foot length. It works poppers and stick baits all the way up to poppers up to 150 grams, and stick baits that can even range slightly over to 170. The rod itself is built to withstand about 50 pounds of deadlift at 90 degrees.
Right.
It's a very, very, very strong rod, and it can cast a good range of lures for those type of fish. You're going to have a lot of liveliness towards the tip. So if you catch, that 100-pound fish, you're going to curve and load up very comfortably. And then if you tackle that a 200-pound fish, you're still going to have a lot of backbone through the mid section of the rod, and that's just going to put you in a very good, comfortable position to work the fish and pump it up.
Is that a good rod for, let's say, just an example, for like a Ron Z? Because here in Cape Cod, Phil at Goose Hummock was telling us that the Ron Z is like the go-to dead sticking bait that he'll put in, dead stick it, and let the waves, just taking the boat up and down will move that lure in the water where the tuna come and absolutely crush it. And he was describing to us that whole process.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a wide variety of applications you can use the rod for. I mean, my personal preference, and this is what I built my fishing career on, is the casting element. For me, it's all about clearing as much distance and what we can get with the lure in the matters of action, and then obviously how you load up on a fish.
Which is why the diameter of your line is skinnier, it's thinner, stronger, it casts further. And me and Corey are putting this to the test right now. Your line is actually going on all of my Sand City Charter reels, and we will be putting it to the test this July 4th weekend here in our area. So we're hoping to have some results for you.
Well, yeah, I'm very happy to hear that you guys are choosing to work with Silk Ocean. I mean, me and Corey, we know each other for a couple of years now. Corey has been fishing my line for, I think it's like 3 or even 4 or 5 years now,
Yep.
almost. And I mean, you don't stick to something that doesn't work, right?
No, he's a big fan of it. In fact, I have him reeling in some big fish, some big striped bass on top water, and you can see your line getting peeled off in the drag on a really decent sized fish. And he's used it for years. He loves it, and he's the reason that I'm making the change. And me and you spoke about this. A lot of people get stuck in a rut with a brand that they use, and they don't want to step out of what we would call their comfort zone, because they're comfortable with what they're using,
We
right?
all know if there's something that we're all guilty of, especially in the world of fishing, is being hot-headed. We are all hot-headed.
That's
when
right.
it comes to what you know, what you've used, your techniques, where you want to go, especially if you're captaining your own boat. I mean, nobody's really going to change your mind. And it doesn't matter what people know or how they do it. Unless you see it, you experienced it, and you had it in your hands, you're not changing anything about the way you do things. If it catches, you do it. And at the end of the day, to take something so sensitive as a fishing line and try to get someone to shift towards something new, it's very hard. It's hard because, if someone had good success on something, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's reliable enough for them to feel, confident in the item, then it's going to be hard to shift. But once you learn about the advantages that, technology brought in the last few years, how we're able to reduce diameters, increase the braking strength, deliver different kinds of feel and smoothness when guides when line leaves the guides, we're changing the game. There's two elements that we're looking at mainly in ocean level when we develop the lines. How do we improve someone's jigging experience, and how do we improve someone's casting experience? So when it comes to the jigging, a conversation that me and you just had, not too long ago, I think it was yesterday, when we were talking about how the diameter affects current and how much the line capacity depends on how deep you can fish and how much you can deep fit, how you can fish deep, and then how much more line do you have to tackle big game.
Right.
You can work PE3 or PE2 that suddenly increases 200 meters on your rail. That opens up a new depth for you. And not only that, it opens up a new depth for you, it opens up the capability not to get spooled once you hook up to a depth that you're already accustomed to.
Right.
So if you're ordinarily fishing 300 feet, and suddenly you're moving on to a braid that gave you more capacity, if you hooked something on the bottom and that thing took off, what's going to stop him? The only thing that's going to stop him is time and drag. If you don't have that availability to you, you're going to get maxed out.
Right. And yesterday you also, Daniel, what impressed me the most now, especially with the jigging, how you described that the line would bow out and how your hookup ratio was a lot better with your line because it was more instant and taking up that space and time like you're talking about. But the app, the widget that you had developed that showed how much more line you can get on a reel. On the Stellus, that was so cool. That really was.
This is a freshly dropped item on our website. Anybody's welcome to use it, whether it's for Silk Ocean or whatever other comparison you want to use it for. You go to oceanlevel.com, you click on products, then the drop-down menu is going to come down. You're going to see the option to go to the Ocean Level line calculator. So essentially, once you go into the line calculator, you're going to be able to set a few parameters like the type of braid of ours, whether it's the jigging, casting, or the FCMP. And then you're going to be able to choose the manufacturer of the rail, the model of the rail, what PE you're considering to put on your rail. And then you're going to be able to see how much line you're going to get on that rail. And also, it's going to give you a comparison to the top leading names that would be runner-ups to our brand of braid, and it's going to tell you the capacity that you're going to get in comparison to others. So for an example, if we were looking at, let's say, the PE8 braid, and we're going to try and spool a 18,000 Stella, because now this is great for, top water tuna. And then we're going to go with Silk Ocean braid. We're going to put in those parameters, and we're going to get 400 meters of line. Whether if we go with competitors or a PE8, we're probably going to be in the range of 320 to 300, depending on the manufacturer. So that's an extra 25% worth of line on your rail. This is, if you're targeting within these schools 100-pound right now, which is what's swimming around. I'm not talking about Cape Cod, but whatever's swimming around the area. So if you're targeting like fish that are 100 pounds right now, and suddenly you come across a fish that's 200 pound and you're not equipped with enough line, say goodbye to the fish. We've seen spooling occasions, by abundant. Right. Big fish take all the line, and you need that extra 25% to secure that fish. On top of that, if we're looking at the diameter comparison, so if we're delivering a PE8 at 0.42 millimeters, and then we're looking at competitors that deliver a PE8 at 0.47 or 0.49, they're still at this 80-pound to 90-pound break strength, where our 0.42 goes all the way up to 110 pounds. And this is on the standard cast braid. If we go to the FCMP with roughly about the same diameter, we're talking about 138 pounds at 0.42 millimeters. There is nothing like this on the market. There is nothing comparable to this diameter with the capacity that you'll get on a PE8, which is equivalent to maybe some PE12s even, that you can get as much as you can get with Silk Ocean. So yeah, these developments have changed the game, and it's not only with tuna. Tuna is going to test you on the distance, and it's like a marathon. But if we're looking even on the sprint game, which is more in the exotic locations around the world,
sure,
Papua New Guinea, Oman, Madagascar, all
Panama,
around Africa,
Costa Rica,
Socotra, Yemen. all these places. I mean, if you go onto our Instagram and you can see what our uh, network of
Yeah, the
fishermen and
collaborators are all sharing their
not
stuff.
only collaborators. I mean, just everyday customers that
Right.
purchased the braid and tested it against the elements. We see 120-pound GTs with the PE10, and this is on the hardest of hardest kind of fishing. It's not like when you're fishing at 3,000 feet of water, and worst case, the fish will go, we'll chase him down. No. If you don't put the brakes on these GTs, if you don't stop them from going down to the wreck or the reef,
Goodbye.
that fish is gone. These fish are sneaky. They're gonna go dive down, try to go around the reef and break you off. They know what's going on when you hook them up. The
That's
first
incredible.
thing is down, left, right, zigzag, break you off the reef. Now, if you don't have the stopping power, you're
Right.
done for.
Right.
So we've seen the PE10 stop giants, like, even 130-pound GTs, monsters that have been stopped on these braids. And people go, they fish, and overall the experience has been great.
Now, in 8 days from today, we have the largest tuna tournament going on here in the East Coast here in New York called the Montauk Canyon Challenge. Now, Chris Squeary and his crew run an amazing tournament. Last year, they had 84 boats, which I'd have to say like 90% of them are Vikings. I mean, these boats they're badass. And the gear, these guys, every rod is a matching rod and reel setup. When they pull up to the dock to unload the fish, it's a spectacle. And the boats are incredible. The reels, the equipment. I can't wait to see, because this year, Chris invited us to do all 8 days there and be involved. And I can't wait to talk to the captains and really get dialed in on what gear, what line, all this stuff. This way, your expertise coming to the table now and showing your product here to these guys. To me, that's the greatest thing, because I want to see what they're using, what they're doing, and what's their opinion of something new that comes to a market that really can make a big difference, which is what you're doing, which is what I love. I love it. That's what I love about Silk Ocean. I really do. I'm so happy Corey brought it to our boat and our platform, because it's definitely a game changer on our boat. I'll tell you that right now.
I'm very, very happy to hear that. Very happy to hear that, and I look forward to seeing more and more use cases of the braids, being applied in other outfits. I like to see them. I see our braids going, all across the world, even for deep drop application, just because of the low diameter. So people are taking the PE10 to fill up those electric rails, to go all the way down to 700, 800, 1,000 feet of water to catch swords, even big eye tuna all over the world. And I mean, the more uses that we see it, and the more advantages that it gives people to give them closer to get this fish of a lifetime. I mean, this just gets all the exciting juices in us going crazy.
Yeah, I showed you a picture yesterday of my nephew caught a sailfish. He went from
You told me that was his first fish.
First saltwater fish was a sailfish. I mean, what do you do after that? It's like, come on. Now he's got to go for marlin. He's got to go for big tuna. I was like, you're thirsty after that. So yeah, that was fun.
So a very big move that's happening now with Ocean Devil is the continuous of production with some innovative items at affordable prices. The objective is, we see a lot of manufacturers from all over the world. Obviously, some go to Asia and some other regions in order to try and cheapen up the price, but then you see that the prices still maintain a high price bracket, but nevertheless, the items are cheaply made, and it's just not worth the buck. On the other hand, we do have items that are handcrafted, and they're coming from the Japanese market, and these are pristine work. But then the price ticket to have something of this quality is just out of reach for a lot of anglers. So where I like to say that Ocean Devil positions itself is that we took that pristine quality of build, and we are a thin operation, and we don't have too much of the expenses that other bigger brands have. So it allows us to maybe not run off to get the highest margin, but more than the affordable margins. And we like to do a lot of production to customers, and we don't go a lot through the wholesale side. So we are comfortable with the margins that we're making that allows us to keep the head afloat and continue to develop and to offer the products that we manufacture at affordable rates. Because if we take from the tuna game, so we've 6 months ago we introduced the Diablo 7.4 Beast third generation. This is pretty much one of the most craziest rods we ever made.
Wow.
This rod has a 60-pound test at 90 degrees. So what we know now as the term stand-up tuna rod, essentially straight up like a pole, fish diving down under the boat, and the rod takes the heat. So this rod, we brought about 150 rods on the last batch. Those cleared out in about 1 month.
Nice.
The reason for that is because we were offering that rod at $580.
Mm-hmm.
And the next rod up that can do something like that is a Japanese manufacturer for $1,300.
Right.
So whether you look at the charter captains or your weekend fishermen, in the end of the day, you need to justify what you're buying. And whether it's for your charter or whether it's for your weekend use, you want to have something reliable, but you don't want to pay such a heavy ticket for it. And we're happy that we'll be able to provide, the Diablo Beast. And this one was a great success in the last season in OBX. We've seen approximately 15 to 20 fish over 100-inch. We saw 3 fish over 110-inch. Countless fish under between the 70 and 80 range. Monster fish caught on this rod. We got amazing footage. Anybody's welcome to go to our website, check up on the footage and on the page to see these rods. And I'm happy to say that these rods are coming back to market in 2 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah, they've been sold out for like 3 months. No, we couldn't get our hands on them quicker, and it takes time to manufacture these. So these rods are going to be back and available 2 weeks. We still have the pre-order option available, which is going to be closed in the next, I think, week or so. And there is, unfortunately, because what we know in the world events, fuel prices have gone up substantially. Production prices has gone up with that, and the shipping prices has gone up with that.
Sure.
So unfortunately, we're going to have a price spike on those rods. So if anybody wants to get on the Diablo rods before they reach, this is the time to get them. And after that, once they're delivered, price is going to go higher. In the pipeline for Ocean Devil, we got a new Diablo rod that's coming out. Actually, you know what? How about I show you this rod? Because this rod, I don't think anybody's ever seen it.
Nice.
Would you like?
Yeah, break it out. Let's go.
Let me get this rod.
All right, guys. So I'm on with Daniel from Ocean Devil. Silk Ocean is the braid. Diablo is the rods. He's got a whole bunch of stuff you could check out at oceandevil.com. And he's in Dubai right now. So it's evening time there. It's 10 a.m. here on the East Coast. I decided to do this one in the studio because it is 95 degrees out there. And to get a good quality call with Daniel, I'd rather be in the studio to show you guys all this great stuff that he has to show and offer from Ocean Devil. And here he is with the new Diablo.
So the range of Diablo started off with 3 rods. It started, with 4 rods, or even 5, that already 2 of them were discontinued in order to be improved in a later stage. In between the rods that we manufacture, we had the Max 60 gram, which was 7.4 at the time, and then we had the Max 100 grams, which was the 60 gram rod was 7.6, which was called the Diablo Shallow Spirit. Then we had the 100 gram, which was 7.4, and this is right now what I'm choosing. It's going to be his replacement. So in that 100 gram range, there's not much use for a 7.4 rod. That's why we took it to an 8.4 rod, and then we changed entirely the configuration of the rod in order to bring it to something as already familiar term from Japan, which is called the RG guide system. So this is the brand new Ocean Devil Reef Reaper. Let me see if I can get closer to you. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
It's a bit hard with this zoom thing.
Yep.
Oh, maybe I can take off that effect and then we'll see.
Yeah, take off the background blur and it'll clear it up.
There we go.
Yep, there it is. Now we'll see the rod nice and clear.
There we go. All right, so this one is the brand new Reef Reaper. It comes with a full set of RV titanium guides. It's a very light rod. It's 8.4, and it has a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 guide system, which is addressing stick bait fishing and soft plastic fishing directly. The element that happens with this sequence of guides is the extract of line through the guides essentially creates a twirl that shoots the line in a very, very accurate manner and more efficient for energy to the compression that's happening through the guides, clears out better distance. Now that is one element. So this rod is essentially going to be one of the ultimate casting rods in the world. I think that people are going to be able to clear more distance with this rod pretty much with any other rod to this category. So if you're looking at the guys working off the jetties, this is an 8.4 rod, yeah? So you can work off the jetties, you can work off the piers, you can work off the boat. Anywhere you want to be with this rod, it's going to give you the advantage. If you thought that you saw a school of fish that you couldn't reach before,
it's going to get you there.
This is going to get you there.
Nice.
So then there is the other element of how this rod loads up. We all know when rods load up, we see that there's normally, the curve, the triangles that start to appear when the rod loads up. When you have close distance RV guides such as these, and then there's so many of them, you're going to be as close to the blank as possible, and you're not going to have sharp breakage. So you're going to load up as smoothly and evenly across the blank than you would have done with 7 guides.
Gotcha.
Okay? What this does in return, it gives you way more lifting power balanced across the rod. Your rod is going to curve way more as a half moon than in like segments.
Right, in increments.
So yeah, this is the handle of the rod. It's a 2-piece rod. And we have also the Fuji rail seat, a very nice finish here with the gimbal, with half-core gimbal. Very nice detailing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful rod.
And yeah, so this one's going to be also available in this drop in 2 weeks.
And they can get those, available. Pre-order those at oceandevil.com.
Yeah. They're straight up to the website. And from the website, we go to the Diablo section and we can check it out over there.
Yeah, it's a great website, guys. I was over there yesterday, and you guys are probably saying to yourself, what the hell is Gage doing talking about all this tuna? Well, Corey's been bit by the tuna bug for 2 years now. Last year, he really got bit. And the reason I wasn't out there catching the tuna with Corey is because I was busy as a commercial tow captain running a charter business. And it was very hard for me to find the time that when these guys decide there's weather to get out offshore, you got to be able to pick up and go and not have the next 2 days to worry about and schedule anything. And as a commercial tow captain, that wasn't the easiest thing in the world. So this year, what I did is I backed off my schedule of commercial tow captain so that I could now get out in July and get on the hot tuna bite here in New York. And it's just starting. And we have some big news at Sand City that we will be breaking as this season moves along here into season 4 for us for Bay Rats and Buoys. And as we grow the company Sand City Charter, because big things are happening. And I am very excited to say we are getting into the tuna bite. That's why we're on the phone here with Daniel in Dubai, showing you guys the best equipment that we can and that we've come across, because we've been at the New York Boat Show. We've met some of the coolest brands and some of the coolest products that come across because people are at all these shows showing them off. We found people at the New Jersey Saltwater Expo, at the New York Boat Show at the Javits Center. And Corey had met Daniel because of relationship building, and that's how it starts. I mean, you guys went out on a boat. You invited Corey out fishing. You know, you met him and you said you want to come out fishing the next day, and you guys went out and
That's
caught.
what I was. Corey just needed a bit of line. He stopped by. He's like, "Yeah, I don't know when I'm gonna fish, and I'm supposed to leave back to the U.S." And I'm like, "Come fish with me tomorrow." And he was like on the pier, I think 30 minutes in advance, just waiting there with his like either ice cooler, rods in hand, and whatever. He was just, let's go.
Exactly. And yeah, he's hardcore about it. So there's no doubt that we're very excited about what's going on here. Now, you're coming to the States here in August sometime. So I said we're going to try to hook up with Goose Hummock and Phil because you're going to be up in Cape Cod.
So for me, you know, I grew up in New York, a very big child in New York, and in the States was a big part of my childhood. I moved around all over the world. Now I'm situated in Dubai, but you know, my heart and soul is always in the U.S. And I'm looking to spend way more time. So right now, even our fulfillment is happening out of New Jersey.
Right.
So we've moved a really big chunk of the company to New Jersey, to the States. We want this to be, you know, I want people to be more familiarized with this, as this is an American-owned brand. This brand is coming home in a sense.
Exactly. You know? Yes. Bring it home, Daniel. Bring it home.
It's coming home. It's coming home. So Ocean Devil wants to increase as much as presence in the U.S. I want to spend way more time in the U.S. I've been, you know, there's great relationships with people from all over the world and across the U.S., whether it's from Florida, South Florida, Louisiana, all around New York, Jersey, Cape Cod, and then we got the people on the East Coast that down San Diego and such that people are fishing. Sorry, on the West Coast, people are fishing down San Diego, and they're using Silk Ocean for so many years. And I just want to, you know, get around and meet everybody, and I want to fish with everybody. I want to spend so much time on the water, get, you know, more personalized with and experiences with, you know, just so many people out there. Particularly right now, we've seen a great increase in the support from fishermen around the New York and New Jersey area, specifically from the last season. And now that the products are also in the US, physically, it makes it so much easier to gather. You don't have to deal with customs. You don't need to deal with international shipping.
No,
so
right.
Is already there.
Right. You want it, you're going to get it. It comes quickly. We ordered it. We ordered it and it came quickly right off the site. We got it quickly.
Yeah, I mean, 2 days, I think it's
which is what everybody wants these days. That's really what it is. People want a product. They want to get it in a couple of days. They don't want to wait weeks. I get that.
Fishing line, you know, it's like if you have a barbecue on Friday, you want your spatula ready before, you know.
That's right. Now we're also happy to let you know that we are introducing your product into stores and to bait and tackle shops that you are not in right now due to our relationships with the owners. That when we say, hey, we're using this product, you got to bring it to market. They're very happy to do that. They really are. So I mentioned it to an owner yesterday.
And we got awesome. And, you know, I'm really looking forward to putting this in motion. We're already in a few shops in the area, whether it's Efficient Customs, whether it's the Rail Seat, or it's Bose Custom Rods down in Louisiana. There's a few. You can go to our website to see the retailers that we work with. You can go over there and get your stuff spooled. And we're looking to get into more and more areas. You know, the U.S. is big. There's a big distance between a lot of shops, and there's a lot of places that we could be, and there's a lot of points that people take off in marinas to go on the water, and you want these products locally. You don't want to wait for them sometimes even 2 days. You want to stop at the shop, get spooled, go.
And not only that, your rods. We'd love to get your rods into some of the places here like Montauk, because there's places here that people go in and they pick up tuna gear and they go out and they go fish and they can buy it right there on the spot. So we're going to try to help you as much as we can.
I'll be thrilled to have these rods in some tackle shops for people to come. You know, you don't have to buy them, but at least come and have a feel for them, see how they bend, how they curve, how they feel at hand. I mean, if they don't convince you by the look and feel, once you get one of these rods on the water and you see what they do against the fish, I'll let the fishing do the talking.
Well, Daniel, we're excited. We're actually going to put your logo on our shirt when we get out to Montauk for the Montauk Canyon Challenge. So we know that people out in Montauk for this biggest tuna tournament that we have in New York, they have the Montauk Canyon Challenge, then they have the Hampton Shootout. So we're going to incorporate and collaborate with you and put your logo on everything that we do out there in Montauk so that people get to see this. I'll talk to all the captains. I'm going to find out what they're using, and we're going to see if we can get a few of these guys to bite and make the change and show us that they've made the change and give you a review on what they think about the product. And that hands down,
No,
goes further than any commercials or any advertising. The word of mouth is the best way.
I mean, the end of the day, we're very transparent. We have something that a lot of shops or brands don't do, is that we put a third party review element on our website that we can't alter. So essentially, it's as genuine as can be. This is only from fishermen and experience while they're on the water. People go, we are using an app called Judge Me. It's a third party review app. It's connected to our website. People come in, they fish, they use they get usage of it, and they post. They post pictures, experiences, and we have 5 out of 5 rating out of 60 or something reviews that everybody has used our lines. We can't, I mean, that's the only way for something to get traction to this level, and is by, proof is in the pudding.
100%. Corey uses it. Corey catches fish with it. He hasn't broken off. He's landed them all. Proves to us that the line was worthy of now using it on our charter business, which is
And
important
also,
to us.
right now in Jersey, we're working with Salt Silverback. We're working with a lot of the big charters out there. We're working with Short Catch Fishing. We're working with, and Bob Hovey's been working, if anybody knows, Louisiana Blue Water Sport Fishing. So Bob Hovey's pretty much one of the most exciting, you can go fishing with a lot of people.
Right.
But if someone brings adrenaline and you make the trip worthy, it's the captain.
100%.
The captain would get. The captain's gonna be your hype man. The captain's gonna know your go-to guy. He's gonna be your experienced guy. He's gonna be your tackle guy. If a good captain does his job right, it's gonna amplify your experience on his boat. So what I can say from knowing Bob Hovey and people who fished with Bob Hovey out of Louisiana, this guy, first of all, knows his fishing. Second of all, he knows his boat. Third, he's one of the funnest guys to fish with.
And you just said the most important word, the funnest guy to fish with. And I'm going to tell you, and I'm not taking any credit here. On my boat, we have a ton of fun. Me and Corey absolutely have it. And people love to come fish with us. And you know why? Because they have so much fun when they do it. They even say at the end of the day, if we didn't catch any fish, we had an absolute blast. But the good news is they catch fish. So thank God.
Fish. Hey, you know what I say? It's called fishing, not catching. You can do everything right, and the bite's not on. There's some days we can clear 200 miles out in Oman when we fish out in Oman, and we're chasing dolphins. So Oman fishing is very, very different than what we're working with Intel. So we have satellite phones,
right,
and we're connected to all of these single engine. This is wild. Okay, in Oman they have single engine commercial fishing boat for tuna with hand line. Okay,
cool.
They go between 100 to 200 miles a day to the middle of the ocean, like 70 miles out on a single engine. 2-3 guys, no bimini, no roof protection. They're covered up with rags or whatever for hand lining 200 pound yellowfins. These guys leave at 4 a.m. in order to clear that distance. We leave only at 8 and we meet at the same time. But they have 4 hours, we do it in around 1 hour. Anyway, these guys go out early in the morning and they scatter around. They don't have any bird finders, no radars or anything. They're going by sight and smell. Listen, you can smell tuna. Tuna leaves a stink, yeah? So they're looking for dolphins all across the Indian Ocean. And between Oman and let's call it Sri Lanka, I would say is the next point. That's the gap, and they go all around that area. So they go out at 4 a.m. and they start scouting. We come out at 8 a.m. and our captain, he's so well connected. He takes out his sat phone, starts making phone calls to everybody on the water, all these local fishermen, and they tell them who spotted the tuna. So we would be rushing down with that intel to where the tuna is at and see these guys with their hand lines. And then suddenly we see like pods of dolphins. I don't know if you've ever fished with dolphins, but fishing with dolphins is one of the most unique experiences. So you'd see a pod of between 200 to 500 dolphins. Okay. This is white water of backs of dolphins just jumping. And the way that it works is that wherever the dolphins are heading, about 100 feet ahead of the pack of the dolphins, faster swimmers are the tuna. Okay. So if you see the dolphins heading in a direction and you manage to get to the top of the pack of dolphins, about 100 feet further, that's where you want to position your lure, because that's where all the tuna have been pushing the bait towards.
Wow.
And then what's going to happen is that whether your popper is in that area, you're going to see a frenzy come out of nowhere right in front of these pods of dolphin. And you're going to chuck in your lure into that clear water right before the big pod of dolphins come.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you're going to get your strike. Now, this is probably one of the most exciting running and gunning, because you don't stop. It's not like you're running from frenzy to frenzy. You're chaperoning a 500 school of dolphin
Yeah.
throughout the day. You know,
that's incredible. Now we have big pods of dolphin here where me and Corey fish, and we saw them blowing up on bluefish last year. And these these things are 7 feet long. These dolphin are huge, and it was all moms and calves, and they were blowing up on fish. So we see them here. We just don't have the tuna 100 feet in front of them here where we fish in the Sound. But yeah, so they're a spectacle to see for sure. And the fact that you get tuna on them is even more incredible. I know they look in Cape Cod, they look for the whales, and like you said, they can smell it. You know, when the whales are there, they know the tuna are not far behind because they're all feeding.
No, I can testify. Tuna smell. The moment you come into a place where there's a lot of tuna, the water gets a bit more oily, okay, and there's a stench of this oil in the air. Normally, it's from either whether they're peeing or pooping or whatever in the water. And these are oils that come out. Normally, it's the poop and oil that come from the digested sardine. So when they're feeding on sardine, they stink up the water, which is a whole different topic about talking about the flavor of tuna, depending on what they eat. So whether you're eating a squid-fed tuna or you're eating a sardine-fed tuna, you're going to have two different types of meat. Well, so this is a whole different conversation.
That's where Matt from J&M Seafood, one of our sponsors, Matt was the grand prize sponsor for our striped bass tournament this past weekend. We had a 2-day tournament. J&M Seafood is the grand prize sponsor. So the biggest fish this weekend measured to the fork was a 48-inch bass, and that was the grand prize winner. Matt had just sent me a truck because I said, hey, we got to get the grand prize money to the winners. And he said, I'm in the middle of he said, no problem, swing by. And he goes, I'm in the middle of doing this. And he sends me a picture of a box truck loaded with dressed tuna. And so I said, well, I wouldn't want to be the guy that has to fillet those things with a jigsaw or however the hell you would do it, because there were so many of them. And he was like, no, we're looking to get rid of these whole, But he would know what the meat, what they're eating, what the taste. I mean, he's like a guru when it comes to that stuff, and it's pretty incredible to hear both sides of that.
This is also the big gap between farmed tuna and
wild
and free range.
Free range, right. Free range tuna. Yeah, they have a pretty big range too.
Yeah. So if you go to the farm tuna, you're gonna see tunas that are being fed a lot of shrimp.
Okay.
They're being fed shrimp and sardine, a mixture. And some tuna are getting more of whiter, orangey color due to eating krill or a mixture of substances, and they become sometimes even sweeter because of that.
Right. So I'm assuming that the Louisiana tuna is not going to taste like the tuna out in the canyons eating different bait.
Every region or whatever they fed on at the time is definitely going to change whatever flavor coming out of this fish.
Yes.
There's also a rare kind of swordfish that is an orange swordfish, which I'm pretty sure you're familiar with. It has an orange flesh, and this is because this swordfish only eats shrimp.
Right, because people get swordfish steaks. Now, Corey caught a sword, and I'm looking. That's a nighttime thing out in the canyons. I'm looking to get onto a swordfish. I know somebody in my area that actually goes down to Miami and runs a charter business for swordfish in December, which is what we're looking to do too with a different type of species. But he catches it on like a small Steiger craft. He takes a Steiger craft down like a 28 foot or a 30-foot Steiger. He goes down to Florida. He sits in Miami for a few months, and he takes people out sword fishing. And to me, that's crazy. You change it up from going on Long Island and you shoot down south and you do sword. And he specializes in that. He's really good at it. So it's kind of cool. Swordfish is a little, it's different. It's a different type of fishing.
It's a different type of fishing, but it's still a very exciting one because this is still big game.
Yes.
It's deep drop, it's electric. So I would say that the biggest excitement out of sword fishing. I mean, I know that the ocean is abundant with them, but then you have like these jumbo sizes, yeah. And you can get on to some pretty crazy size swordfish, and this changes everything. They can give a really strong fight, and they would fight all the way up to the top of the water. They're not going to stop. Like, if you got like a very nice, good sized grouper, once you do 100 feet or 200 feet, that fish inflated with bow trauma, and he's floating all the way up, and it's like just a big heavy bag. Now, swordfish, they would give you the good fight all the way up. We've seen some really good catches with the guys that are using the Silk Ocean, the PE2, PE3, and they're going about 800 meters. What's 800 meters? About 200 feet depth,
Yep.
2,000 feet,
Yep.
2,000 feet depth of water where they're dropping jigs of like 2 pound jigs all the way down there. It's crazy, yeah? And they're catching on slow pitch jigging these 100 pound, 200 pound swordfish on the jig,
Yeah.
which is pretty crazy.
Corey hooked into a pretty big, and they call it a giant sword. They were saying it was close. It must have been. Now, don't quote me on the weight, but I think off the top of my head, I'd say like it was 180 or 170. It was close to 200. And he said when he got it up, the thing was barely hooked. That he couldn't believe that they actually landed it. And Corey hooked in during the nighttime out in the canyons. He hooked into a nice swordfish. Yeah, so I'm excited. I can't wait to get out there. The only tuna fishing I did was in Florida when I took my nieces and nephews out. I hooked into a blackfin tuna. And at the time, we were using goggle-eyed bait. We had 2 lines out, kite fishing for sailfish, and we were dropping deeper for the blackfin tuna. And I didn't realize at the time, this thing, I'm hooked into this tuna. I'm fighting it. The mate's saying you're doing everything right with the rod. Everything's fine. Just keep doing what you're doing. And we made cool GoPro footage. We were having a ton. Me and my nephews were having a ton, nieces and nephews were having a ton of fun. And when this thing came up, they were the captain and the mate were hooting and hollering that this thing is huge, that this is a big tuna. And I'm seeing like a 30-pound tuna, and I'm like, what are you talking about? That's I'm expecting like something crazy to be a tuna, like what you see on Wicked Tuna, like a 800-pound tuna. And I see this little 30-pound blackfin tuna, and I was like, holy cow! So I didn't know the different sizes.
Listen, every time you change a position, you understand that the status quo of what's considered big changes from place to place. Okay, because even here in Dubai, when we go out, there's an emirate called Fujairah, which is again towards the Indian Ocean, and we can go for billfish over there. Okay, now we would go and we would catch longtail tuna, a 40-pound longtail tuna, in order to rig it for marlin.
Okay,
Wow. That's the bait.
Wow.
That's the bait.
Yeah. That's the bucket list. The bucket list is to catch a marlin and beat Michael Jordan in one of the tournaments. That's on my list of things to do. So I got a few more years to graduate to that. But Chris Squeary from the Montauk Canyon Challenge was, this is something I found super interesting about the tuna fish and tuna fishing is identifying the species. It is not always the easiest thing to do when it comes to the tuna, to the point where he told me that one year they had to send a fish out for forensics to get an actual identification of which species of tuna this was. And that blows my mind.
I'll tell you what, yellowfin tuna is very distinctive. You have the tentacles, and then you have the strip. I mean, yellowfin tuna is a yellowfin tuna. Okay?
Right.
You can't really mess that one up. But what happens is that when you're looking at the bluefin species, they're going into like 3 or 4 species. You have the bluefin Atlantic, you have the big guy, you have I don't know, there's like 2 other species or something. And these do have, first of all, they act very different. They swim in different waters. The big guy is a deep drop fish. This is a fish that goes swims normally around, I would say, 1,000 feet of water. That's the natural habitat. You need to deep drop for a big eye tuna.
Wow.
But if you want to get a bluefin tuna, they're going to be surface level. They're going to be more pelagic. I mean, they're all pelagic, but this one's going to be way more onto the surface level of the ocean. And then you have like the mix between the fish, and then you got like mixtures. By the way, I've seen a lot of inbred fish. You can see a skipjack mixed with a bonita. It looks very weird. You know?
Right, right.
It's a different fish. You can see a yellowfin tuna that somehow made it into a school of bluefins, and they made whatever kind of weird combination of tuna there. These things do happen. It's nature, and we've seen
Right, there's
a lot of things
hybrids.
happen.
Yep.
So you can't be surprised, and I would definitely agree that some fish would be very confusing between the species.
Yeah, when I see them unload them on this boat, I mean, when you see this footage, and you went to the website, so you saw what was going on. They showed all the fish getting unloaded, and it's just a spectacle to see the size of these fish that these guys are out catching. In that tournament, they have a 38-hour window that they have to pick to leave the dock, go out fishing, come back within that 38-hour window for the tournament. The prize money they gave away last year was $1.1 million in prize money for the tournament.
Does everything go on this? I mean, you can catch in whatever way you see. You can troll for them, you can bait for them,
and there's different divisions. There's different divisions. So there's an outboard division. So they have different divisions for different boats, which is pretty cool. On the site, you can see the different how it varies. I didn't get too much into the details of it because I knew I wasn't entering the tournament, and that was last year. Things are changing, and I'm hoping to get more involved in the tournament this year.
Do you know how big the segment of the top water is?
I don't know how big. I don't know the different variations of how they run the tournament.
I would love to see how the top water, and I mean, if you look between the West Coast and the East Coast fishing, this is like two different planets. I mean, I'm way more relatable to the East Coast of fishing because these guys are doing a lot more with spinning reels. But then if you go to the West Coast, they're going to say, "Oh, that's coffee grinders," right? And they don't support any of that. So for me, I mean, I'm definitely more accustomed to the East Coast kind of fishing. Although the more Japanese methods are started to drizzle down towards the West.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love to see, a top water competition that would kick off. That would be mainly focused on top water because this would definitely. This is like for me. If you look at a team effort, and in comparison, I mean, it's always a team effort. You can't fish big game without collaboration with your team members, without your captain, the boat crew, and everything. But when it comes to landing giant fish, for me, the sport of it to do I don't know what we would say, a 300-pound tuna solo. For me, this is like a life mission. I'm working towards my entire life to get to the point that I can land a 300, 400-pound bluefin tuna single-handedly, rod and rail.
And which Stella reel are you going to put on there for that one? Which one do you need for that one?
That's a 30,000 Stella, and it's a PE14 line. Actually, we just developed a PE14 line, which is going to hit the market in a few days. And then it's a very specific rod. So we're also, in order to achieve this, I designed a rod specifically for this, which we're going to see it come to market probably around December. I'm happy to drop the name so people can follow up on it. It's going to be the Diablo 7-1 Redemption Rod.
Well,
everybody's coming to redeem themselves after catching this fish,
Yeah, I love that. Well, you also brought up a good point here. So, and I'll mention this to Chris because they are really dialed in on this. They're very good at what they do. They've been doing it for many years. The tournament started out very small, that they took it over from somebody else. I think it started out with like 12 or 14 boats. And now last year they had 84. So when I talked to Chris about this, I am actually going to bring it up. But, this could be something that Ocean Devil, starts here on the East Coast where we now have a top water tuna tournament. And, we could make this happen. So
Listen, just look at social media. Look at the traction. Look how many people, how many charters are booked, whether it's Cape Cod, OBX, Jersey Shores, New York shores, wherever people are fishing. We're talking about that. I would say more than 1,000 boats
100%
that have been fishing top water tuna on spinning gear the last season. And also something very interesting. Look at the ages. Okay. There's a younger crowd
Oh, there
that
is.
has entered the big game space for top water. We're not, we're not talking about just like trolling and stuff like this with the family. We're talking about kids who are very fit. Everybody's putting a lot of work into themselves in order to be able to catch these monster fish. People are taking this fishery as the sports side of it extremely, extremely serious now.
Yeah.
And it's coming from people aging, all the way from 17 to the early 20s, that which is wasn't really the case before. You would see people come into the sport mostly towards their 30s, right? And mostly after you're married or this or that. But right now it's becoming way more popular for younger generations to come in. And I'm super excited about this. And obviously, we see social media is also responsible for a very big part of it. The exposure, the excitement, and everything that comes along with it that
Yep.
people are intrigued to try. Um, so, with that said, I think that we're only, it's a very developed sport, but we are still at the beginning of what it can be as for a community
Now,
and how it can be, whether competitive or what it can be individually challenging,
now talking
Uh,
about the ages, not to interrupt you, but talking about the ages, I want to stay on that age thing for a second because we had guys on the podcast and they're going to love this that I'm actually going to plug them here. East End Anglers and Andrew and Ethan, great bunch of guys. This is a young group of kids, and I'm calling them kids. They're not, but I don't know their exact age, but these guys are dialed in. And this is what they would aspire to do, only fish for tuna and whatnot. I know their dad has a bigger boat. They run a center console. Ethan's got a boat out of Jersey. They run out of Montauk and Shinnecock. And these kids are awesome at what they do. I love them. And we've had them on the podcast. They've been to this studio where I'm sitting right now in the wintertime. And we recently collaborated with them. And we collaborate back and forth all the time. Now, when you're coming to the States, I will try to hook this up that maybe you can actually meet and maybe we could set it up where we could fish with the East End Anglers so that you can see what this younger generation is doing here as you come back home to New York and we get you dialed in with Ocean Devil and see if we could turn them onto your product. You know what I mean? This is the generation that's going to help make the change for something like that. But these kids are really awesome. They're great. And they know I love them. I plug them all the time. I talk about the East End Anglers. And I can't wait to fish with them this season.
When I'm coming to the States, I'm coming 100% to network, fish with people, get my rods in people's hands, get them to try it, see for themselves if it improves their fishing, if they like the designs, they like the applications, and just we're not pushing anybody down their throat. If you want to fish it, fish it. The only thing way you'll fish it is if you try it for yourself. And that's what we're trying to do.
100%, which is why you're on the podcast here today. Now, Tuna Tom, I'm going to mention two other people. Tuna Tom, he was in my tournament last year. He was the first person. He won first fish. He caught the first fish in our tournament last year for the striped bass. I nicknamed him Tuna Tom. He's a local mechanic. He owns a gas station in our area, has a small single engine boat. This guy runs out with gas cans, gets behind the dredgers, and he's out there catching tuna, which is hence why I nicknamed him Tuna Tom, with a single engine going out there and crushing it. He's so hardcore, and that is what I love about him. Now, a second person that everybody on the podcast knows, a good buddy of mine, just ran out, and I'm not going to give you any locations, but he did just run out offshore on his single engine boat to go do topwater tuna, and he crushed it. And everybody knows Dave Flanagan from North Island Fly. I love Dave. I've known Dave for many, many years. And he's one of the best fishermen in our area. But he got out and crushed it on top water. And in our area, Daniel, he's like a local fly fishing charter. Very, very light tackle. Everything's usually on the fly. And he's super dialed in. He knows, he's big on getting the albies in our area. The albies and the bonita and different pelagic species that come through. So it was cool to hear this week that they got out and did that. So that's what got me and Corey fired up. My boat is ready. I'm taking a single screw. I'm going the 30 or 40 miles out, and me and Corey are hooking into a tuna on my boat.
Oh, you guys are going to get them. You guys are going to get them good. I've seen them busting up on social media. People were catching a lot of fish from all areas. But yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a very exciting time to come to the States this August. And I'm very, very much looking forward to meeting everyone and to getting all this in motion. And yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah,
what I have to
Daniel.
say about that.
Daniel, this was one of my favorite episodes because this really got the stuff you talked about really got, I'm out of my element as far as fishing for tuna. Okay, that's not something that I specialize in. It is something I'm getting into. I'm super excited, but what you bring to the table and what you explain to people here today, I hope they get to take a look at your website, check out your product, get as excited about it as Corey did, and we're excited for you to come to New York and get out and get fishing.
A little message. If anybody's listened to this podcast and he's considering to go and pick up a tuna set, and then he wants to challenge himself against like big tuna, and back to that body that where get standing in shape, I would suggest two things: work your fingers, work strength on your fingers and your lower back. These are the two things that are most likely to tap out before you're going to be strong. You're going to be deadlifting. Your back is going to be everything. You're going to have really strong biceps, but you're going to be very surprised once you're as strong as you are, and then you try to grip a rod for more than 5 minutes.
Oh my
and you would
God.
understand how low of a grip power you have. So these are very strong things to take into consideration where you're about to go fish for really, really big fish. And then all the rest is between you and Mother Nature. And good luck, I guess.
We had a professional baseball player on the boat, and he played here for the Long Island Ducks. He was second baseman. We hooked him into a 50-pound bass, and he was reeling in this 50-pound bass. And his story after this thing was landed and caught, when it came to the back of the boat, him and his dad and his brother were yelling, "What the hell is that?" They couldn't believe the size of this thing. And his story, to give you a synopsis of what he said, he goes, "My chest muscles were locking up, my back was tightening up." And this kid was a professional athlete. He was in great shape. And it doesn't matter who you are. If your muscles are not trained for fishing, you're going to get your ass kicked. That fish is going to kick your ass.
It's a different part of your body that hasn't been tested before. It's a whole different type of resilience and endurance test. It's completely different. But it's what makes it more challenging, and that's why I love it. Because even as an individual angler, whether you have a team behind you, once it's you against the fish, you're gonna push your body to the limits. The people don't give this enough emphasis into how much important it is to be in shape when you're going fishing for big game. And this is a very, very critical element of succeeding to land a big fish, especially if you want to do it solo. I mean, obviously, there's no shame in giving out the rod, but if you want to challenge yourself, and this is something that you inspire to do individually, yeah, definitely going to push your body to the limits going against these fish. And the right equipment. I mean, we've seen, throughout history, we've seen very, very, very good rods that don't break.
Right.
Let's even name a brand. Black Hole. Black Hole.
Yeah. Okay.
Made really nice blanks.
Yep.
Okay. But Black Hole, with time, they kind of they gave the power that our blank would need. But then the question is how does it load up? So even if it's a very sturdy and reliable rod, you wouldn't be able to fish that rod single-handedly because it would probably break your body. It's a very stiff, strong rod, but the question is how does it load up? I have great respect for those rods. They're pioneers in what they do. But I believe that each company does things a bit differently, and where we come in and we do things to try and outperform others is that we allow it to be an individual sport. We allow the rod to load up to a point that relieves that pressure from lower back, relieves that pressure from fatigue in segments of the body that people don't normally, because even developing the Diablo series, that was 2 years on the water with fish.
Right. Right.
You need to fish 2 years the same blank in order to understand what's the weaknesses and how it delivers power to your body. So taking these elements in taking these factors into play,
right.
This is very critical information to know when you're going out for the fish.
Yeah, it's bad enough you got to put that. You got to put that strain on your body. You don't want your equipment to fail. It's bad enough your body's getting your butt kicked. You don't want your equipment to get its butt kicked. So the fact that you put all this expertise into making the rod better so that it's better on the person as they're catching the fish. That's where the evolution of the products are going. It really is. And
People were looking at, I heard a really good saying just the other day from Jamie Tria. I don't know if you know Jamie Tria. He's out in Gibraltar. He's a very advocate tuna fisherman, and he was talking about how many of the rods are demonstrated in workshop environments, where you see somebody taking a big keg, connecting a line to it, and then deadlifting it and showing it. Oh, look at the rod curves. Okay,
right,
the rod has a coil. When people work with carbon fiber, there is a coil in the rod. It works like a spring. Okay, some
hmm
rods don't spring, they don't coil the same way as others. It's like a shock absorber. A lot of rods cannot absorb shock as much as others. So you would find that working with some rods, it's going to deliver way more fatigue to you faster rather than a rod that can bend and can fatigue the fish without you needing to pump it. The rod has to lift and have this curve of coil in order to lift the fish's head instead of you needing to use your physical power to pull the fish every time.
right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I
when
do.
when you're sitting down on a fish for 45 minutes, or you can be on a fish sometimes for 3 hours, yeah? If you
It's
want to be on a
crazy.
fish for 3 hours, the rod needs to work for you. The rod has to help you lift the fish's head. In the end of the day, the fish never stops swimming. It's gonna do those barrels, whether
Right. It
it's
goes into the pinwheel.
it's gonna pinwheel 300 feet below until it's going up. The reason it's pinwheeling, it's because it's trying to dive down. The only thing that you're essentially doing is lifting up the head.
Lifting the head up
The
so that it's,
moment that
yes,
you get the fish's head from this shape to this shape, he's going to keep on swimming and he's swimming himself up. Okay?
right.
Your objective is to lift the head. If your rod is not helping you lift the fish's head,
You're
you're a
done.
goner.
You're done.
You're done.
I love it.
Yeah.
This was
So
this was epic, Daniel. I can't thank you enough for taking the time out to jump on Bay Rats and
I'm
Buoys.
thanking you. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, we forgot to mention something very important.
Go ahead.
And we should maybe put this in a few parts of this video so
Yep.
people get it maybe a bit early on.
Yep.
We're giving out 10% discount for all the listeners here onto the podcast on Ocean Devil. If you guys want to try out our braids, rods, or whatever tackle that you see on our website, manufactured by Ocean Devil, we welcome you with the discount code BayRats10.
Yep.
You go to Ocean Devil, you go to checkout, you're going to have your little discount code area right before you check out. You put BayRats10 and you're going to get 10% off on any order, any item in your basket in order to try out our tackle.
And we're grateful, and the listeners are grateful, and we appreciate you doing that. And we'll put that on the social media too, and I'll also put that into the beginning of the podcast so that people can hear and see. We'll put it on the screen and whatnot, so I'll promote it a little bit more than just here at the end, like we're just talking about it. So we'll put that code up and let everybody know about it. We'll pump it out on social media. You know, we're building up the tuna crowd here and whatnot, so they got to understand that your line is not just for the tuna, because we're using it on our charter business here on the North Shore of Long Island, where we fish for
Silk
everything.
Ocean starts at 0.6,
Yep.
goes all the way up to PE 14. We're covering all ranges of fishing from your light game, ultralight, slow pitch, fast jig, top water casting. We have 3 types of lines and various options of rods and additional. We got some harnesses that we have. We have the Candy Roll lure bag, which is one of the most sell products that we have. It's an amazing lure bag that washes down and you can put over 40 poppers into it. And then it rolls up very nicely.
I love
So we
those.
got
I
so
love
many cool
those.
things on our website.
Yep.
And we invite everybody to come and check it out. And on this note, I would like to say, Gage, thank you so much. Corey, thank you for putting all of us together. Gage, thank you for hosting me on this awesome platform. I hope it only grows and brings the community stronger together. And I look forward to August, meeting everybody in person and getting to go fish out together.
And thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're super welcome. Everybody head over to oceandevil.com. That's the website to go. You saw the Bay Rats 10 is going to be the code to type in there to get yourself a discount. Thanks to Daniel. We appreciate you coming on, guys. Episode 88, another one in the books. I'm in the studio. It's too hot to be outside on the boat right now. But Daniel, thanks. Thank you so much. We can't wait to fish with you when you come up here. We're going to have some good stuff planned for you. And hopefully we'll get a Diablo out there and get it on a nice tuna. But thanks for joining us. Appreciate you so much, guys.
Thank you very much.
Captain,
Take care.
Captain Gage and Daniel signing off. Go ahead.
All right. Happy 4th of July. 250 years.
That's it.
Great nation.
That's it. I have a bucket on my boat that says 250 in red, white, and blue. I even put red and blue lights on in the studio here today for the 250-year celebration of Independence Day. Captain Gage and Daniel signing off, guys. Over and out.
Out.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. Be sure to visit sandcitycharter.com and follow Captain Gage on all our social media channels.